Hello, this is Miss Titus, and I am going to talk you through the summary graphic organizer homework that was based on the article called Should Girls Play on Boys' Sport Teams? Now, hopefully, if you are watching this video, you have already completed your homework and you are using this to check your answers and see what you did correctly and what you may have had trouble on, so that moving forward, you know what questions to ask and how to correctly identify main idea, topic, and supporting details when you are reading an article. So, to start, let us review the definitions. You have them on the paper, and I have them over here on my answer key. When I look at this article, I can tell right away from the title what the topic is going to be. And before I even do that, I should make sure I record my title. So I have that typed here under article title, Should Girls Play on Boys' Sports Teams? So now I'll open up my house graphic organizer. And for the topic, I can already tell from the title that the topic of this article has something to do with girls and boys playing sports. So the answer I have is girls and boys sports. So that's the topic. And remember, the topic should only be a couple of words. It should not be a complete sentence. Usually it's only like 2 or 3 words in this case because we have girls and boys that kind of added to it. But that's the topic. And so then the main idea is what the author of this article is trying to say about this topic. A lot of the times the main idea might be somebody's opinion that they then back up with different facts. Now, when I read this article, here's kind of my quick summary of each section. This first section here kind of gives you a little bit of a story, just like the bullying article that we read as a class. So you kind of have this anecdote from a girl who is playing on a boys' team. So we have her story. And then we start kind of introducing this idea that girls can and do play on boys' teams. So we have a couple of facts in here that if I had a paper copy, I probably would have highlighted, or on a notes page, I would have written down. There are the important facts that jumps right out is today more than 100,000 girls play sports once considered to be guys only. Then it lists some sports that they play. Then there's a fact about that there are laws requiring leagues to welcome girls. Then we have another little story here. Then the article kind of starts to switch gears. And it says, in some cases, however, girls playing on boys' teams have caused controversy, which means conflict or a problem, particularly in contact sports such as football, hockey, and wrestling. So I know what a contact sport is. These are sports where people are coming in contact with one another. So it's not like golf or even baseball where players are running into each other or pushing each other or tackling. Contact sports involve that kind of touching. And so then we have this little anecdote here as an example where a boy actually forfeit a wrestling match because he didn't want to wrestle a girl. He felt uncomfortable, that it was inappropriate. So that seems important to me. And then it keeps going. And there's a great fact here that says, though girls tend to be smaller and less muscular than boys, there's no evidence that they are more prone to injury. So this kind of switches gears a little bit, right? So we have this side or a perspective where one person says, I don't want to compete against girls because I feel like it's inappropriate with contact sports. Not all sports are contact sports. And then we have these other facts that actually many boys don't really care if they're competing against girls. And for the most part, girls aren't more likely to get injured. Okay, so I'm kind of starting to see 2 perspectives develop. And then this last section, kind of the same thing happens again. So it says still the critics, so meaning people who are criticizing girls that are playing on boys' teams, suggest that girls should stay on their own teams, and that they kind of give 2 reasons here. One is if all the girls start playing boy sports, well, then the best players won't be on the girls' teams anymore, which could be not great for the girls who are playing on girls-only teams. And then it also says, isn't it unfair to boys who must risk the embarrassment of losing to a girl? So some boys, for some reason, feel embarrassed for losing to a girl. So should we be subjecting them to that? That's a whole other issue that I'm sure many of you have opinions on, and it would be worth discussing. But then we have this word, many experts say that there should be more opportunities for boys and girls to compete. And it goes on to say that doing this through sports can help girls and boys learn how to respect each other's differences. So there's kind of two clear perspectives developing here. Some people fully support girls playing on boys' teams, and there are a couple reasons why it might not be such a great idea or why there's some pushback. So now that I've kind of reviewed the article and started pulling out some important information, I can write a main idea statement. And sometimes what you might want to do is pull out your details first and kind of see what you have and then write your main idea. So for me, I said the main idea is some people believe girls should play on the same teams as boys, but others do not. So that one sentence captures my topic, girls and boys sports. And maybe I should even add here same sports teams as boys. But it captures both perspectives so that there's support and there's pushback or criticism. So then what's nice about our house organizer is we have 4 details and 2 perspectives. So mathematically, we can divide it out 2 details per perspective. And so I've already talked us through the article. So the details I came up with are my first one. For contact sports, it can be inappropriate for boys and girls to physically compete. So this supports the side of people that do not believe girls should play on the same sports teams. So people falling in that perspective or believing that perspective, this would support that part of the main idea. And then my next detail. Although most girls are smaller or less muscular than boys, there is nothing proving that they are more likely to get hurt than boys. So this would support a reason that girls should be able to play with boys. And these 2 details, detail 1 and 2, they kind of counteract each other, right? So on the one side, the people who don't believe girls should play with boys, it's because it might feel physically uncomfortable for a boy to wrestle a girl. But then on the other side, many people believe, and experts say, girls aren't more likely to get hurt, so it's fine. It's fine if there is that physical contact for an athletic purpose. So then my third detail is if too many girls play on boys' teams, then girls' teams will lose their top players. So there's something to be said for an all-girls team. And if there are all-girls leagues and all-boys leagues, then the teams where girls just want to play with girls, they're going to lose some of their top players, which will impact their teams overall. So it might be a bad idea because those teams would suffer if some of the top players go into the boys' leagues. And it might be questionable if it's only the top players that are getting to go play with the boys. So then it raises questions about being good enough to play with the boys. And then my final detail, going back to the positive side, experts say, and that word expert always jumps out at me as an important fact, experts say that girls and boys should play together in order to learn how to respect their different skills in real life. So sports can be a cool opportunity for girls and boys to practice working together. So details 2 and 4 on my house support the part of my main idea that some people believe girls should play on the same sports teams. And then 1 and 3 support the side, but others do not. Now, there are plenty of other details that you might have chosen. For example, you might have chosen the sentence, boys sometimes feel embarrassed of losing to a girl. That would be a detail supporting others do not support girls playing on boys' teams. So there are other details you could have chosen from. So even if your house doesn't match mine exactly, but you've captured some of the similar information, then you've probably done a great job. If there are some that you missed, make sure you make a note and ask questions so that the next time you do a summary graphic organizer, you know exactly what you are doing. But again, this is the right time to make mistakes and learn from them. That's the whole point of using this video. Thanks, and hope this was helpful to you.